Hello and welcome back to my channel, Sister Harlem's Library. I'm going to give you my honest first account review of Unprotected by Billy Porter. I was alerted of this book, because I did not even know about this book before, by Courtney from Tangible Reads. And when she talked about this book, I said, oh, I like Billy Porter. I know him from when he won the Tony for Kinky Boots. I said, I'll just add him to the memoir list that I'm slowly building for this year. And I read another book and I said, okay, I'm going to read his book now. And I listened to it on the Libby app. So I did it via audiobook. It was so good. It was so good. It was so good. So, like some other celebrities that I've read recently, he had trauma in his life. But I would start out by saying that his lineage was born of trauma. He talks about how his mother was born, the actual birth that happened. It was so traumatic that she was disabled for life. So she was born disabled because of the rough um, birthing that happened. And when he describes it, it brings me back to all the things that have been coming up recently, but aren't recent, but have been coming up recently about the way the medical field has treated or is treating Black women, and not listening to them when they say certain things are going on with their body. His description of what was going on with his mother was a prime example of that. And it is from that we meet a young Billy Porter who, from what he says, he was never a Black man that could be in the closet, because he was always obviously queer, flamboyant man. So he was not ostracized, but he was definitely, his mother was very religious. So if you know anything about, I'll just say the Christian church, because I don't know anything about the other cultures, but definitely he grew up Pentecostal. So his experience with the church was not good. It was not welcoming. He learned that he was to be damned, so to speak, and then had certain people who, vilified him, but also had certain men who would want to be with him, such as a minister, and also his stepfather. His real father married his mother, and then within a year left. And he never had a relationship with his father after that. His mother, probably being very lonely, she married another man, and he was in that wedding, and from that union, she gave birth to a daughter. So he has a younger sister. I believe he said she's 10 years younger than him. And so because of their age difference, and I'm jumping ahead, because of their age difference, they were not close until she was older. But it's something that is one of his relationships that he cherishes. But his relationship with the church was permanently fractured from several different things that were said from people who were in the church, including a female minister within the church. And he had a really heart to heart conversation with his mother. Um, and as he said, he had to come out to his mother 3 times because she just was so set into her religious um, um, upbringing and beliefs that she just didn't want to see him for who he was and who he is and who he unapologetically will continue to be. And that's what struck me about majority of the book. Majority of the book is about him continuing to um, becoming comfortable with who he is and knowing that he will continuously push through with different situations that happen in his life. And even with the height of losing people, especially people who he talked about, that the HIV/AIDS crisis and all the people that he lost to that disease and what a mark it left on him, and then the subsequent trauma of that, then other things happening in the world, such as all the things happening with during the time that Clinton was president, the Don't Ask, Don't Tell. Then you also had he says President Orange, but we know that he's talking about Trump and everything that happened with that, and how people slept on that, and that's how he was able to become president, and the different things that have gone on in the entertainment industry with in terms of Broadway and then Hollywood. But he starts out from Pittsburgh, where he's from, and also the religious background, being sexually abused by his stepfather for a few years, and then his stepfather, of course, trying to deny it. And then stepfather dying, and him forgiving him and moving on, and also the different people that he came across during his life in Broadway, how he got to Broadway, how he realized that he had a voice, the different things that he did to make sure that he got the training that he needed. He went to Carnegie Mellon. He went to these other programs to get into Carnegie Mellon, and his just stamina, his forthrightness to just do what it is that he knew that he needed to do to succeed. He was on Star Search. I didn't realize that, and won. I didn't know that either. He talked about, if you all don't know, I live in New York. So he talked about living in my neighborhood. And I said, oh, I didn't realize he lived in this neighborhood at one time. He also talked about the different people who did wrong by him, and other people that he called his angels that did right by him. And also how he never felt comfortable with dating black men, and he's a black man himself, and so he had to really through therapy figure out why that was, and he realized that black men were not a safe haven to him because of what his stepfather did and other black men had done. So his husband is white, but he did talk about that. So I thought that was very interesting. And so, and I believe he says in there, he says, so did that mean that I didn't like myself? And to come to a, not conclusion, but come to something like that really makes you wonder, makes you think about, as a reader, what it is that you think about yourself, or there are things that are similar in terms of that dynamics that you might think about yourself, no matter what your background is, because of things that have happened in your life. Um, he talked about how he was on the set of a show and everyone knew that it was time for the Golden Globes nominations, but no one spoke about it. And then he got his first Golden Globe nomination and what that felt like. Um, and other things. He called out to people who were racist, homophobic, etc. He called them out. He left no tea unturned, and I have to respect that. He talked about himself and he talked about other people. Yes, famous people. Named them. And said, this person is racist. This person is known as a bully. And if they are people who, changed, he talked about that too. Not everyone is the same as what they began. And some of these people did change for the better. And he talked about that. So he talked about what they were before and what they are now. So he did talk about that. But you want to know what I gave this? 5 stars. If I could give it more than 5 stars, I would. It was really, really good. So I've read some other memoirs this year. I think this is my favorite one so far. So we shall see what else I will read in terms of memoirs this year. I know what I'm reading next month, but I'm not going to talk about it yet. I'll let you all know about it next month, but it will be about a woman by a woman, because next month, March, is Women's History Month. So thank you so much for coming to my channel and watching my impromptu, excitedly book review. I really, really liked Billy Porter's Unprotected, and yes, you have got to read this book. It is really, really good. I cannot stress it enough. Go and get it, okay? Go to Libby app, go to the store, however you read. There's no wrong way to read. Go and get this book. You will not be disappointed, okay? Bye-bye, everybody.